The Odyssey is the second great epic poem traditionally attributed to Homer. It further develops one of the major themes of the Iliad, that a hero seeks to win personal fame through great deeds. He must forge an immortal legacy, even if it means dying young. But we also see this poem's hero, Odysseus, resorting to somewhat unheroic methods. And in another innovation, he's repeatedly tempted to trade high-risk celebrity for a long but anonymous life. In fact, the Odyssey features several important departures from the Iliad's iconic style. This poem is set in peacetime, and there are more powerful, interesting women in the cast. They often occupy the formidable role of a supernaturally gifted femme fatale. In order to make it home, Odysseus is forced to manifest a variety of abilities, and the story places greater emphasis on domestic matters as opposed to power politics. And finally, in the climax, the hero must confront over 100 decidedly non-heroic opponents, men whose threat factor lies not in their quality as warriors, but in their numbers. Whilst in the Iliad we saw that living by courage and the code led to tragedy, in the Odyssey, our protagonist lives mainly by masterful cunning, with a much better outcome. The poem's plot follows the meandering journey of the Greek hero Odysseus, King of Ithaca, as he makes for home across the wine-dark sea after the 10-year Trojan War. His voyage from Troy to Ithaca via Africa and southern Europe lasts another 10 years. It includes dire physical and magical perils, and results in the loss of all his crewmates. In his absence, Odysseus has been presumed dead, leaving his wife Penelope and son Telemachus encircled by opportunistic, unruly suitors, demanding the queen remarry. Meanwhile, the king's adventures, a lengthy mixed menu of empowered foes and temptations served up by the gods, relentlessly delay him sailing home. Odysseus's adversaries are giants, monsters, witches, and nymphs. They present no opportunities for Iliad-style dueling, so must instead be overcome by ingenious wiles. Forced to operate outside the norms of established heroic conduct, Odysseus freely tells lies, uses disguises, and even gets a physically superior enemy drunk, then maims him. The king's temptations are a series of offers to lay down his arms and live a long, happy but obscure life among the Lotus Eaters, with Circe, the Sirens, or the Phaeacians. And the ultimate lure is the offer of immortality itself, put to him by Calypso, but only at the cost of reputation, fame, and being remembered. Ultimately, Odysseus refuses it all. Odysseus's difficult journey even includes a dramatic visit to Hades, the Greek underworld. There he meets up with former comrades who fell at Troy, including the now regretful Achilles. After Odysseus and his men are captured by the one-eyed Polyphemus, the king deceives, then blinds the giant. But unfortunately, right after escaping the Cyclops' cave, he then falls prey to his own ego. While sailing away, the triumphant traveler taunts Polyphemus and in mid-brag, reveals his true identity. The Cyclops then begs his divine father, the sea god Poseidon, to curse Odysseus with 10 years of wandering. Women play a far greater part in this poem than in the Iliad, and they are not depicted as either slaves or doomed princesses overshadowed by their men's impassioned decisions. Helen, Calypso, Circe, and Penelope present as formidable women who can easily control men. And even the cunning Odysseus sometimes needs divine help to escape from powerful feminine clutches. For instance, Circe packs enough magical power to literally change his men into pigs. And when Calypso captures Odysseus, he's hopelessly trapped until Zeus intervenes to force his release. With her inventive shroud-weaving ruse, Penelope impressively stalls the small army of loutish opportunists camped in her palace until her husband's return. And in the poem's penultimate scene, she even outwiles the wily Odysseus himself into losing his composure, the only character in the entire poem able to do so. The long journey's dramatic and bloodthirsty climax is Odysseus's triumphant return home. But this is no heroic victory in the wake of a noble one-on-one duel between titans. Insanely outnumbered, Odysseus is forced to retake his palace by first tricking, then killing in cold blood, all 108 suitors hounding his faithful queen. Modern scholars now believe that the Odyssey was written a generation after the Iliad, possibly even by a different poet, who carefully modeled his sequel on Homer's work. It skillfully deploys many of the Iliad's classical tropes: epic events, larger-than-life characters, a grand style rich in similes, supernatural machinery, and a narrative that begins mid-story. But it also appears to imply a striking shift in Greek social thought of the time. The Odyssey takes a step away from old romantic traditions towards almost modern hard-nosed pragmatism. For in this epic poem, we travel beside a canny hero who, in order to prevail, scams more than he sword fights. And it turns out that his toughest opponents are not mighty warrior men, but remarkable, gifted women. Yet despite proving to be no Achilles or Hector, it is actually Odysseus who gets the happy ending.
Did that highly strategic homecoming leave you pondering what comes next in the evolution of epic heroes? Journey with the first warrior sailor driven by a code of strength and honor in our gripping episode 6.